In 1996, a little unknown musical sang its way into people's hearts, and in 2005, someone decided to make a movie out of it.
Today we're watching Rent. Biases on the table. I'm a trained dancer and gay. As such, the original stage play is held in high regards. The same cannot be said for the movie. The Pulitzer Prize-winning hit Broadway musical Rent is an almost autobiographical, if embellished, show about the LGBTQ, drug abuse, homelessness, AIDS and loss, in no particular order. It is a timeless piece of art that in itself is bohemian.
For the sake of talking about the movie, I will be pretending that I don't know the story nor its characters. See if the movie works on its own merit. Hey!
We open the movie with... Wait a second. Is that... No. Oh God! Seasons of Love?
You can't open the musical like that. It undermines the point. It's a celebration of life, taking life one moment at a time. It is set at a funeral for that exact reason. Actually, now that I think about it, the movie holding its own funeral, telling the audience just what kind of shit they're about to see, yeah, that's kind of hilarious.
Written by the late Jonathan Larson, directed by... Oh, Jesus Christ! Chris Columbus! You did Home Alone and Harry Potter!
Hashtag no turfs welcome.
You can do better than this.
And it's mostly acted by the Broadway cast, who clearly weren't listened to or had any idea where the editing was going to go. Otherwise, they would not be smiling like that.
Not with the royalties of this movie, that's for sure. Somehow they managed to make the opening just as long as the musical while taking out 3 songs. How does this movie feel smaller while being so much bigger in scale? By making it this big, you lose the intense intimacy of the problems the musical wants to showcase.
Right. Its own merit. Fuck that! This sucks!
Wait, what are you doing outside, Roger?
Fine. You wanna do this movie? Let's dance.
Everything is off. The pacing, the order of the songs. The frigging order of the songs is wrong. If this movie doesn't even care about the time it is set in, why should I?
So... December 24th, 24, 9 PM, Eastern Standard Time. From here on in, I shoot without a script. See if anything comes of it. Instead of my old shit.
Rent the movie actually hates the musical. Oh, and the gays. Oh, and the homeless. Take Roger, for example. The point is that he is so depressed he can't leave the fucking house. He isn't meant to be outside at all till the protest on Christmas Eve.
Speaking of Christmas Eve, the entirety of the first half of the musical happens in the very few hours of Christmas Eve.
The movie lets this whole thing happen over the course of all 3 Christmas days, taking the speed and urgency out of it.
Fundamentally, though, the movie doesn't seem to understand nor care about the storyline and meaning of the actual musical.
God damn it, movie, this song is supposed to be desperate, not sexy. Knocking is for people who are out, not in.
This is the best example for not understanding your source material, the stage production.
Has no choice but to have a knock due to the limitations of the set.
The movie has zero reason to do this. It did it because the musical did.
But hey, at least the drug plot made it.
There's more egregious things, but let's move on for now to La Vie Bohème.
Dearly beloved, we gather.
La Vie Bohème, a classic of musical theatre, an ode to theatre and the arts. It showcases wonderfully how the artist and the art work together and how one needs the other, which is a nice metaphor for everyone's friendship. So, how does the movie fuck it up?
Well, that's just wrong. The entire Last Supper symbolism is lost here. It wasn't necessarily subtle in the musical either, but at the very least the symbolism works. Excuse me? Now, that just wouldn't happen. A slap in the face like that is much more humiliating than it is as an... That's, anyway, it's out of character. That's what I'm getting at here. Why am I so picky here? Well, the movie does swerve far away from the musical here. It just really lacks the awareness and the openness to talk about its issues, the gays, the drugs, the homeless, the AIDS.
And at the end of all this, we have 3 happy couples. And Mark. Which
is wrong. But it is set up this way for a reason. A reason I'll get into later.
Viva la vie bohème!
And this is where we get to the intermission. And I've got something to talk about, so... Alright, so let's put 10 minutes on the clock. Here, the musical right here, and the movie right down here. Because... dance break! Let's look at the choreography and performances of some of the songs. Most are perfectly fine in comparison, but some stand out and I want to talk about those. Anyway, let's do the hits first. Today, for you. Great song. One of my personal favorites. And the movie does it perfectly well. It works within the confines of a realistic set, as opposed to a suspended disbelief set, while keeping the highlights not only alive, but expanding on them with the drums or with the high jumps. Next up, we have What You Own. Yeah, it takes the movie about 2 hours to finally understand what an enlarged scale can do if used properly and correctly. The stage production, no matter how great it is, just cannot compete with the size and scale of travel the movie is allowing us to experience in such a short time. Seeing both Mark and Roger actually go about their time instead of a musical interpretation of it is a nice change. It comes with a couple of weird moments, like Mark quitting his job at Buzzline by shouting it from the rooftops instead of into the phone, but that's okay. And when you're dying in America at the start of the millennium. Yeah, it's been 20 years since the movie and 30 years since the musical, and nothing changed. Jesus Christ.
Maureen's performance.
And in what is the uncontested best, so good you need to find a clip right now. The movie is almost worth watching just for this clip alone. Scene Over the Moon. This scene is perfect. It does what the movie should have strived for the entire time. It takes the balls to the walls crazy that is this beat poem by Maureen and dissects every little aspect of it and makes it into its own visible, tangible and feelable object. Her face being on the screens, singing along, the stage being a lovely nod to the original stage design, it confines itself to a stage while allowing the camera not to be, giving us this amazing shot.
Milk I had ever tasted. Climb on
I am over the... Nah, too easy. Seriously though, go look the scene up if you haven't seen it. It's worth it. Not everything can be a glowing recommendation though. Let me run you through 3 misses and a catastrophe. First, we have One Song Glory. An absolutely abysmal change to the overall narrative that really highlights how little respect the source material was given. We are shown how Roger and April, his dead girlfriend, get their diagnosis in the hospital together. The musical explicitly tells us that April left a note explaining they have AIDS, and then ends things. Drastically. Those are very different circumstances, but it also goes against what they're trying here. April is Roger's ghost, the thing that won't let him move on, the fear, the desperation, personified. We aren't supposed to know what she looks like because she's always with Roger, at least this early on. Out tonight, and by extension, another day. Give me a bit, it'll make sense. There is so much to go into here that I don't know where to begin. Actually, I do know. Why is the strip club open on Christmas Day? Who on earth runs through the streets of New York at night, alone, singing and screaming like that? As a woman, no less. And who uses the fire escape to get to their floor? But I digress. In the musical, she's doing this entire song on Roger's fire escape, making his reaction with another day more than understandable. Here, he just comes off as a huge ass. She's been dancing on his fire escape for 30 seconds, and he flips his shit. Frankly, most guys I know dream of having the person they're attracted to dancing invitingly on the fire escape. It's also another hint of not taking your own material's timing serious. This happens during the Tango Marine, just after Today For You, time-wise, just an hour or so away from the protest. Instead, hours have passed, and a whole other day will be passing before the protest. I should tell you, have you noticed how all these songs relate to Roger and Mimi? Yeah, the movie is making them a much bigger thing than the musical ever did. To the point that they're the only ones on the poster. The hugely important song, the hugely important stage performance. The fact that it happens in the restaurant, where everybody could overhear, is the whole point of this. They're being open and vulnerable in a booth not too far away, you know? Like we all did when we were with friends back in the day. Visible, so nobody would worry. And then they leave, only to be mentioned again at the end of La Vie Bohème. The movie has them exit the entire scene and do their bit outside in the freezing cold of New York at Christmas. And then has them enter again so that they could all finish La Vie Bohème. The catastrophe, however, is the Tango Marine. An absolute mess of a choreography and a testament to how little anyone creatively involved actually understood and cared about doing this movie justice. And I will tell you exactly why. But let's do this bit by bit. Second by a very painful second. First, we need to talk about how important it is that this song comes after you see. Mark makes the conscious decision to say, F off, Benny, I've got a protest to save. In the movie, that's not even a choice he can make yet. In the musical, Benny approaches them when he thinks they're at rock bottom, but they are not. In the movie, they are. This forces the movie to find a different reason for saving the production, and they opt for a "I still love her" thing. Hey, that means they can make a joke about being dumped for a girl at least. This in turn brings a different emotional vibe into the actual meaning, as now it's meeting the ex you're jealous of. Secondly, in the musical, Mark is prepared that Joanne will be there. Here, he is entirely blindsided. And the result is an incredibly awkward opening from what is usually very strong and confident characters. In a world where both are easily intimidated, this scene might have worked. But a tango requires confidence and strength. And if you can't present that in the lead-up, you won't be able to establish that later. The actual tango marine is half paso doble and half tango. First and second half respectively. The paso doble is about twice as fast as a tango and symbolizes the fight between a matador and his bull. Both the music and the choreography reflect that on stage. The movie, however, just plays tango the entire time, and it causes very hard swings in general tempo and flow of both the lyrics and the step. And if you play them side by side, they desync within seconds. The scene opens up with some clunky and hasty exposition and introductions, before we get to our slow, boring, and entirely underdone opening sequence. It seems underwhelmed by its own existence. The musical makes this a proper paso doble, a bullfight, a tug of war, a passionate fight over the woman you both love. But even as a tango, this could have worked if everyone had the proper confidence from the get-go. But the movie does none of that. It's just really awkward because nothing is the way our performers are used to. The music is slightly off, the area is different, the whole sequence. Not to mention a combined minute of filler music. When the musical actually has them dance together, it is initially really good, just them reading back and forth, fighting for the dominance, just like in the musical. And then Joanne drops Spark, and we get to this really weird dream sequence. Wait, I've got much more to say, stop! Ah!
In a huge departure from the musical, Mark is only nervous about selling out, not disgusted and only begrudgingly doing it.
We'll take it.
This is an important character deviation that, once again, I'm gonna have to go into later.
The breeze warms.
It's taking out really important nods to earlier songs that make this such a poignant moment.
The movie decides to just go ahead and skip huge chunks of the story. In fact, at this point, the movie has about 15 minutes left to go, and it bleeds into the credits. So let's round that down to 14 minutes.
Just came to say goodbye.
It does this by cutting out the rest of Goodbye Love,
How did I get here? How the hell?
having entirely erased Halloween in the scene prior,
Eve last year. Don't you worry about him. Hey, I'll take care of it.
entirely erasing a main character who had an arc left to finish,
No, I always hated that dog. You're always preaching not to be.
the near fallout between Mark and Roger,
You pretend to create and observe when you read.
the spelling out of what's at stake,
Perhaps it's because I'm the one of us to survive. A poor baby.
and by God, I cannot overstate how important this song is at this point in the musical.
And the movie just skips it.
For now, I want to move on to how and why this movie hates gay people so much, because it's really egregious.
I was dumped. What's his name? Yes, Joanne. For a lawyer named Joanne.
fact that Mark got left for a woman so funny to you all? Some friends you are.
Here we see one of the hard but almost missable changes from the musical. Collins is denying the handkerchief from Angel, whereas in the musical, Angel just gives it to him.
The movie is about to make a very subtle reference to them both having AIDS. See if you can spot it.
Life support?
Yeah. It's for people with AIDS. People like me.
Me too.
But who does what is important here.
Angel has AIDS, and as such doesn't want to risk Collins. It shows the care and awareness that Angel has despite the shitty situation. The movie, however, showcases that Collins is the aware one, giving Angel way too little credit and failing to set up the characters correctly.
We raise our glass, you bet.
We aren't given a reason for the spank here, so it feels like it's just showing us promiscuity for the sake of it.
You know, like the icky gaze. Trademark.
Later on, just after Mark selling his soul for
$3 grand a segment.
Thank you, Joanne, we see Maureen and Joanne fighting like a straight couple.
Champagne and go at it.
Oh, invite the girl you were just flirting with to join us, and I will.
Oh my God.
And yes, this is directly lifted dialogue from the musical. However, the tone and inflection are so very different, and it just feels so disgustingly straight, as opposed to delightfully kinky and depraved, like the lifestyle they all so proudly lead.
The ground thaws, the rain falls.
While this song serves more as a street sign to Exposition Road rather than a breakup song, it highlights one thing I need to mention.
This movie is strangely concerned with the sexualities and struggles of the cis woman, as opposed to the bare sexuality and struggles that the musical places on the LGBTQIA+ as a whole.
Even in this incredibly intimate moment with Collins and Angel, she's there, really hammering in just how much this is affecting her.
Hey guys, it's Benny.
In an effort to pad the runtime, they inserted a montage about Mimi and how she's been missing, and skipping 2 songs in the process. You know, this gay musical has its priorities straight. If you're wondering why I haven't brought up any homeless people or issues, or why they haven't been seen, it's because there isn't much to talk about. The movie ignores one of its biggest issues straight up out of existence.
Gotta go. Oh, Christ, it's a lady. Come on, man, you gotta get up.
Smile for Ted.
Oh, please, movie, don't pretend you care now. You are looking at the one scene with clear intent.
About helping homeless, and the movie makes the reaction feel a lot more vindictive than the musical does.
Just trying to use me to kill his guilt. It's not that kind of movie, honey.
Clearly, the movie took that to heart.
Hey, artists, you gotta...
This scene is cut so very short because the movie is busy erasing about 20 minutes worth of homeless interaction.
Christmas bells are ringing. Christmas bells. Someone
The musical has so many moments by, for, and with the homeless. It's a really important thing.
Christmas bells are ringing.
The homeless are seen everywhere. They fill every dance, every scene, every quiet moment.
Singing the Hit the Road blues.
Why are we doing this on a subway? There's no reason, other than erasing the homeless some more.
Now you be my queen, and I'll be your mode.
Out on the street, in the daylight, buying from street vendors. More homeless erasure. Good lord, even when they do show the homeless, they cover them up.
I'll cover you.
The movie then proceeds to full-on skip the next 2 songs, totaling 8 minutes, in favor of 1 minute and 45 seconds of boring exposition, lingering, and Say it with me now, homeless erasure.
Yeah, they're in the background filling the scene, but they don't do anything.
Until, of course, they start the riot. There's a few things left unsaid that could have fit into the other categories, but they really do deserve a category of their own. So, number 1.
Mark. I'm Mark.
In the musical,
Valentine's Day. Head across the empty lot.
He's the stand-in, the blank slate character, whatever you want to call it. He's the narrator, the observer, he's the audience, he is us, the one who is left at the end.
Why am I the witness?
And instead, the movies somehow makes him a main character with his own plot and intent beyond observing.
Sold my soul.
number 2.
Benjamin Coffin III here.
Penny, what's going on?
I'm here to put an end to this war.
The movie weirdly depicts him as a good guy in way too many scenes, and it's frankly revolting. But when it is supposed to make him likable, it drops him from the movie entirely.
And number 3.
AIDS erasure.
Now, what do I mean by that?
In 2015, Lin-Manuel Miranda took the world and Broadway by storm with Hamilton.
No, that's a different video. Anyway.
She is credited as the bullet. Whenever Hamilton is on stage, so is she. Always around. She's the gloom and darkness that AIDS brings into your life. Always there, unshakable, always lingering. Even on the best days, your time is running out. That's what she symbolizes. The fact that she's also a homeless person is a bonus, because that meant the movie could erase 2 for 1.
Like in the aforementioned Seasons of Love.
How do you measure the life of a woman or a man?
It is her that is being erased, and the face of AIDS saying that is hugely important.
I do.
The real Mark would be happy for his friends. He would never say shit like this.
This can't be happening.
And now, let's tie all of this together in what is arguably the worst scene of the movie. The commitment ceremony.
This whole scene is a mess from start to finish. It is replacing Contact, a song about frivolous sex. Bad sex at that. It's a showcase of sexual freedom and a testament to living a fulfilled life despite AIDS, which the movie erases.
On her wonderful choice of a life partner.
The parents of both Joanne and Maureen are visibly uncomfortable and saying all their lines through weirdly gritted teeth.
Into our family.
Could you excuse me for a minute?
What's worse is that it then somehow pretends to be a straight relationship again, with the same bickering and complaints you've seen before, and I'm starting to get really offended by this movie's inherent homophobia in trying to straightwash this whole script as best as it can.
I didn't stay at the King Club last night because you wanted to go home.
You were flirting with the woman in rubber.
The entire setup for this song and meaning is changed.
And because of all that, Take Me or Leave Me just kind of fails. It doesn't work as a passion-fueled rage, and more like a defense a straight guy would utter after being caught cheating.
Right. Pookie, we were just talking.
Maureen.
The movie also makes it clear that Joanne is overreacting, whereas in the musical, her jealousy and anger are more than a little justified.
Because it grossed you out. I didn't stay and dance at the Click Club that night because you wanted to go home.
You were flirting with the woman in rubber.
While we're here,
This is literally the happiest footage you'll ever see of Roger and Mimi.
Would everyone please stand?
The musical never shows them this happy.
Give me a break.
In fact, the fact that they have nothing but constant struggles because of their respective baggages is brought up in song 5 times.
Maybe now you two can get back together.
Oh, come on, movie! The movie is a weird showcase of how a director and an editor, fundamentally not understanding the source material and insisting on not listening to anyone who made the original stage production so great.
I'm sure Jonathan Larson is rolling in his grave over this movie.
December 24th, 24, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I can't believe a rant went by so fast. Time to say what I've got time to say.
How did we get here? How the hell pen left? Close on the pages of the script. How did I get here? How the hell? Christmas Eve last year. How could a film so boring be so badly done? How can a review this soft be so cruel? Why are entire scripts strewn on the cutting room floor of memory? And single scenes from one magic day forever flickering close up on the 3D IMAX of my mind. That's poetic. That's plagiaristic.
As you can see, a whole review got scrapped in favour of this rant. But that all being said, the music will carry you through. Thank you for watching. Told you I had something more to say. This is an affront to the arts in general, but specifically to the careful and elegant art of choreographed group tangos. Everyone has to be in perfect sync. Every stomp needs to be a snap that echoes through the room. But here, nobody is in sync with each other. Not even in lines, rows, are they in sync with each other. I'll forgive giving a special choreographed dance to a single pair, or even two in this particular case. But they are not stand out enough to not just seem like sloppy execution. Seriously, look at someone else every time you look at this scene. The sound of the stomps is a wave of stomps going through the room. Every dip is a wave that has no concrete form. It's really annoying and distracting from what should be a great performance. It also undermines the point a bit if the only time we hear that Maureen cheated is in Mark's dream sequence. It turns accusations on Joanne's side into wishful thinking on Mark's part. But mostly, this is the movie's excuse to spray-wash Joanne some more by putting her in an admittedly stunning dress that musical Joanne would never in a million years buy in a shop, let alone wear to an event. Hell, the musical specifies that she has to be asked not to wear Doc Martens but heels. One thing I should mention. The biggest issue between the choreographies isn't actually the choreographies. Well, mostly. But the physical and emotional closeness, as well as the genuine love and affection and care they all have for each other, regardless of their backgrounds, ethnicities, baggages or sexualities. That's the point of the whole musical, for crying out loud.